Andy Lee is here with us to talk to us about a big weekend of fighting. Let's start with Joshua Ruiz, the weekend. Ruiz is saying afterwards that he wasn't fit, didn't look particularly fit.
Yeah, I know. And it's the biggest, like you can take a lot, you can learn a lot from Anthony Joshua on how to handle a defeat. Because you look at how he handled the first fight, and there probably were reasons for that performance. And there were obvious reasons. The late replacement, the complete change of opponent in terms of the style and the guy to prepare for, and he did not make one excuse. They're
starting to make excuses now. They're saying he was sick. That he had an illness.
But it's fine now that he's come back and avenged it. Yeah. It was an interesting few comments. He made it like to Mike Costello and Steve Bunce that he had been sick, that he had a diagnosis, and that he was always tired. Yeah. And felt run down, and he put it down to training. But then after the fight, he went and got seen by a doctor, and now it all makes sense, and he's flying now. So, what kind of symptoms are there? Yeah. What was it like? He wouldn't actually say what it was, and he actually also said that he had an operation during training camp. Okay. Which he didn't say what it was or where. Yeah, what it was for. Yeah. Maybe it's a viral infection, or maybe an allergic reaction or to something that...
I'd like to know what the treatment is, you know, if they've discovered something helpful.
Yeah, that's probably...
You know, that's always...
When you're not answering, when you're saying things like that and you're not answering, giving a definite answer of what it was, what you had done, then...
Questions emerge,
yeah. But in terms of performance, it was almost punch perfect. And from this first bell, it was apparent what was going to happen, you know. He looked a lot more fluid. He looked, obviously there was a big issue about, a lot being made about the weights compared to the first fight. For this fight, when Joshua had lost a lot of weight and Ruiz had gained a stone. So, and that led into, that should have been the first, that should have been not the warning sign, but the first signify that this was going to go the way it was, that Joshua was going to just box and move in a kind of a Klitschko-like style.
It was a bit Klitschko-esque.
It was very Klitschko, yeah. And I actually messaged Vladimir during the fight, and he said, "Yeah, he's boxing smart." Vladimir said, "Yeah."
Yeah. And like when it comes to boxing smart, would he be at? Would Vladimir say, "Yeah, he's definitely at my level," or he's like,
no. He was kind of laughing. He said, "Yeah, well, safety first, and he gets the win." You know, something like that. It was kind of I don't know, but like I think. Like it was, people who've seen the fight, he was constantly moving. People who haven't seen the fight, he was moving all the time. He was jabbing, keeping Ruiz at a distance, and tying him up in close. It wasn't the exciting fight the first fight.
He got caught a couple of times.
He got caught when they were close, and there were cuffing punches when he didn't effectively tie Ruiz up. You know, for the most part he was tying Ruiz up well, holding both Ruiz's arms. And basically shutting him down. But there were times when he let one hand free and Ruiz would hit him with that hand. But like, I was so disappointed in Ruiz. You know, it was like 30 seconds into with 30 seconds remaining of the last round, he starts banging his chest and saying, "Come on, stand and fight." But it's too late now. It's too late. It's too late. And he's the one who's making excuses now, saying that he hasn't trained, that the fame and the fortune's gotten to him and that he didn't put in enough work. But I don't believe he warrants a rematch or a third fight, because it was so one-sided.
Not unless he beats one of the other contenders and
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no way for. I don't think there's an immediate like trilogy. It wasn't an exciting fight to warrant that.
No, nobody's interested in that. I don't think. I would like to see what Ruiz would be like with proper training against one of the other contenders.
It might be a cruiserweight if he trained properly, but yeah, he probably has to go back and start doing something.
But like, there's enough there as a fighter for him.
Oh, he's hugely talented,
and he didn't get taken out. There was no sense that at any stage Joshua was going to step in and finish him off.
No, he tried it a couple of times. Joshua, like, he did take a couple of risks, but then it was, once it didn't work, he went straight back into the safety zone. And you have to give it to him. Like, you can't underestimate the amount of, I don't know, mental fortitude and strength it took to make that adjustment and to reverse the first fight, to reverse the decision, because you're coming up against a guy who's already beaten you. Not just beaten you, but kind of humiliated you in such a public way on the biggest stage in boxing. Yeah. You know, and here you're going into his biggest fight of his life. and the biggest fight of the year, and against the guy who's already put him down 3 times and stopped him and had him concussed, and he adjusts and stays disciplined, and I thought that it was, in that sense, it was an amazing performance, because to come back and do it in an immediate rematch, you know, a lot of guys, he would have been forgiven had he took a couple of easier fights and then came back to fight Ruiz. But he went straight back in, and there's a lot to be admired there.
So, what do you want to see next from the heavyweight division?
The way it's looking now, politically, when you have all those belts, you're going to have to fight the mandatory challengers. Kubrat Pulev, who's a Bulgarian heavyweight, who's the IBF #1, looks like he'll have to fight him next.
Any good?
He's good. He'll be a completely different style to Ruiz, because he's similar height, 6'6".
Right.
A technical boxer, has lost to Klitschko already.
So that's not going to be a hugely exciting
I don't think
contest.
it'll be, no, and I think it could be, like, I was thinking about Joshua's style going forward now. What's going to be his style? Is he going to be this, you know, action fighter as he was in his first fights? Before the Ruiz fight, he was really an action fighter, you know. He was a clubbing fighter and got the knockout, 21 knockouts, you know, in 23 wins. So, but when I saw this version of him against Ruiz, he was boxing very smart, and that could be his way forward. But I don't know if he's a good enough boxer to beat the very high level guys, especially when you're matching in height and reach. You can't really stay back like that. And
that's why when the Klitschko comparison, like, Klitschko was unbelievably proficient at that, like supremely technical, because he'd boxed all his life. You could see that Anthony Joshua was new to that. Like the bits where he's getting caught, that looked like somebody who's just picked this up.
Yeah.
And fair play to him for doing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like
So
that's actually something that actually, like, makes the performance even better. The fact that he could do it for 12 rounds. The fact that he made the physical changes as well, that he dropped his weight, changed his training camp, went back to just boxing, took the emphasis off strength and conditioning, and boxed a disciplined fight. It makes it even better, I think. But going forward, what's his style going to be and how is he going to fight? Maybe he'll tailor it to each opponent, but we're having that Klitschko-like style, it's important if the fella in front of you is a lot smaller. But when he's going to be fighting Fury, Wilder, even Pulev.
If he goes in to fight Tyson Fury on the basis that I'm going to win this in a technical fight, he's going to lose.
He's going to lose. And even if he tries to do that with Wilder, as we've seen, the best technical boxer maybe of the division, Luis Ortiz the last time, outboxing Wilder for 6 rounds and gets knocked out with 1 punch.
Yeah.
So that could happen as well.
There's a couple of then different things that kind of add to the intrigue as well. First of all, Anthony Joshua's post-fight comments about how he can understand how someone like Andy Ruiz just couldn't handle being a world champion, and all the kind of come-downs that come with that, and it holds you back sometimes, and it distracts you, and all that sort of thing. Now Joshua has that back again. He has that pressure back, and I wonder if that was an insight into how he perhaps struggled with being kind of considered the greatest in the division.
And I think he's learning as well. He's mentioned some things about just saying no to media requests. Like, he famously used to, before every fight, he would do an open workout, a sparring session in Sheffield, and he would stay there for 3 or 4 hours talking to and interviewing with everybody. And that was cut off this time, you know. And maybe it's a good thing for him and a positive change, because those things are draining. They're all things that you have to do, not that you want to do, and you're answering the same questions a million times, and you know, and all you want to do is fight.
Yeah. The other thing then is that he's 30 years old, and the whole idea of actually making these fights happen is going to have to happen in a finite amount of time. I think it's fair to say he's not going to be like Pulev. He's not going to go till he's 38 years old.
I think well, the way it's just shaping up, Pulev fight will be next for him. On the WBO side, which is the belt he also holds, the #1 challenger there is Alexander Usyk, the cruiserweight champion, who's moved up to heavyweight. He's going to fight Del Boy Chisora, and so I think the winner of both fights they'll meet each other. So it'll be Joshua Pulev, Usyk, and Chisora.
You think Joshua would do good numbers, and that would probably be kind of a good stepping stone then before
the end of the year fight with one of Fury or Wilder. That's in an ideal world, but we always know boxing has a way of complicating things and messing it up, you know.
Yeah, well, he only fought twice in 2019. I'm looking back, and he fought twice in 2018, and only fought twice
It's
in
hard
2017.
because all these fights are pay-per-view. You know, the build-up, the kind of, are people going to want to pay for it 3 times? I don't know. It seems to be an appetite. This fight is, I think, has broke our UK record for pay-per-view buys, over 1.6 million buys. So
That's insane.
that's insane. Yeah, £25 or whatever it was. I think we paid €30, but
Right.
it was a lot, you know. So it's good money there.
Lack of a knockout as well. Like,
Yeah, I know.
is that going to be a concern?
That's it. That's the only thing with the style. With Pulev, I think you'll see him a mix of both styles where he will be going for the knockout, and it will be there for him with Pulev. You'd fancy him to knock Pulev out. So
I want to see him fight Fury, and
Yeah.
I want to see him
well,
fight.
they're scheduled to fight February 22nd now, Fury and Wilder. Obviously, that's a huge fight, and then the winner fights Anthony Joshua, if not have one more in between. But
Yeah, it could be a year before that happens, though.
yeah, you'd like to see it before the end of
That's
2020.
they should just all be like, look, because everybody gets rich from that fight, and the follow-on against the loser. Like,
And with Joshua having a loss now, and there should be more. They should be more willing to take a chance and go for it.
Yeah.
And he's shown that he can bounce back from a loss.
yeah, there's no
So it's not the end of the world. for
protecting
anybody.
records
Yeah.
from it. Who is the best heavyweight in the world at the minute?
Tyson Fury. Wilder always has a chance with anybody because he can knock them out at any time. But Tyson Fury.
And second,
Wilder.
right?
Probably. Then
Joshua's
Joshua.
third.
Yeah, Joshua coming back into it.
That's exciting, though. That's like, because I do think that he's not
It would have,
proficient
like,
enough
you know,
to protect himself for 12 rounds. So there's going to be
maybe
moments.
just over a year ago, it would have been the complete reverse of that.
Yeah.
And that's how quickly it can change in boxing.
Like, the bit about the style is interesting, and because he hasn't had that grounding as a 10, 12-year-old, he's going to give you a chance. And that's like why every moment you're like, ooh, one of these points is going to land.
Even at, like in this fight, even though it was a dominant display, he was still vulnerable.
Yeah.
At times.
There was a few rounds
Yeah.
like, oh, he's gone, oh. And he's
especially
looking
any
back.
punch that went around the side of the head or the neck, he looked vulnerable.
He did. There were certainly, Ruiz has no qualms about punching you when you're not looking. He was happy.
Yeah.
Referee's like, shut up, get on with it. But I was like,
it's crazy. He's
not
probably
really.
probably Eddie Seth out of a trilogy fight, you know.
Yeah.
Ruiz.
Yeah, yeah. And look, that might be no harm. But I would watch Ruiz fight Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
I would definitely, if he.
He's still a huge name. He's former world champion now, but he'll be a good opponent and an interesting fight for anybody.
Yeah. Jason Quigley was impressive.
Yeah. From a coaching point of view, impressive again, coming back after a loss. Like, this is why I put so much stock in that with Anthony Joshua. Even for someone like Jason, who it's a lot less exposure, it's Jason's loss is just as significant to him as Anthony Joshua's loss is to him, but it's on a lower scale in terms of the exposure and the world recognition. But for Jason, came back, and I think he'd admit he was nervous for the fight. He fought a guy, Abraham Corrado. We didn't know what to expect because we'd seen him before, and you'd fancy Jason to beat him, but he had 12 weeks to prepare for the fight, Corrado. So we were expecting a better version than he'd ever been.
Yeah.
But Jason went about his business with real purpose. There were moments when he was hesitant and a little bit unsure, and kind of reverted back to some old bad habits. But that's understandable when you're under duress. You know, you're always going to revert back to what you know. But he did okay. He got him out of there, got the knockout, and that's important. And I think another fight of a similar level pretty soon, early in the new year, would be ideal, just to build confidence and get him back where we can train together and he can rehearse the things we're doing, and then step it up again.
Does he come through it unscathed? Is he physically okay?
Yeah, no hand injuries, no cuts, no bumps. I don't think he took a clean shot. So, he was just a couple of times he was rushing things and not setting it up, you know, and he's got to take his time to create opportunities and trying to force them.
That must be the hardest thing, though, because like the clip that I saw, and I haven't seen the whole fight yet, but the clip that I see is actually chasing him around the ring. I'm like, yeah, that's great. You want to see it because that's what everybody wants to see, and you're like, no.
No,
Be calm.
I want, yeah, but I want he can chase him around the ring, but do with with some effort behind it, you know,
Yeah.
not just be, anyone can run after somebody and just trying to club them and hit them, you know. There were, like, even if you watch the clip, you can see his feet, he's square on his feet and his chin is in, and his head stays in one place, where we've been working on, where he trades and moves his head at the same time. But he'll get it. It takes time. I know myself from changing trainers and working with somebody else, it takes time to ingrain those instincts.
And how are the politics of boxing in that division at the minute? What's the...
Jason's still a good name, and he's only a few fights away. As I said, the champion, number one man is Canelo. Even though he's gone up and down the weights, he's still the recognised number one. You have Golovkin, you have Danny Jacobs, who's due to fight Chavez Jr. soon, and you have Demetrius Andrade, who's a WBO champion. And within 2 or 3 fights, Jason will be in a position to challenge one of those guys. Maybe Andrade is a good route for him. But we'll see. We'll see.
How do those fights even get made? Like what? So you win. Say you win 2 more fights.
He's got to. Say if he wins another fight of a similar caliber and then step up fight with a better opponent, a ranking opponent, then he'll be in position to fight.
So
but that stage
beat
he'll be
somebody.
20, maybe 20-1, and it'll be. It's down to his promoter to make the fight. You know, to stage it and offer them good money to fight him. But Jason's attractive because if he fights on the East Coast, then he'll sell tickets and they'll want somebody like that to help fill an arena. And obviously with a loss, people will think they can get to him now. But even within Ireland, there's 3 middleweights. One of them fought this weekend, Dennis Hogan, who he could match up with and make good fights. Even though I've never really liked like Emmanuel, and I wouldn't like to see my fighters fighting other Irishmen, you know. I don't think it's good luck, but if those fights are lucrative for Jason, then we'll have to go with it. Yeah. But we'll see. He's not too far away. It's still early in our partnership, and he's still got a lot to learn and improve on.
How did you find the whole experience? And how are you finding this whole experience? Because it's relatively new.
Yeah, it's different. Are
you throwing every punch yourself when you're standing by the ring?
No, I just try. I don't know.
There are definitely people in the corner who you can see.
Yeah.
Like,
you just want them to do so well. Like when you're the boxer, you're in control. So there's no nerves. You know what you've done. You know how you've prepared, and you kind of have a feeling of control about the whole thing. When you're a coach, you just gotta let them go and see what they do. You know, and then believe. You're kind of trusting that what you've done with them. But that's the thing with Jason in this fight. All the things we'd done, and all the sparring he'd done, the good things that he'd picked up, he didn't do them in this fight. So I was kind of like, you leave, not that he's letting me down, but he just, I was obviously reviewing it since and analysing it, it was probably always going to be this way, you know, that he would go back to his old habits, but there were clear signs that he fought with a lot of purpose. I don't think he'd ever been this aggressive before in a fight, and it looked good for some parts, yeah.
And how do you know what to say in between? How are you getting better at that as well?
Yeah, I think that's a learning process for me as well, you know. Just being able to communicate, but you just say the things that I've been saying to him every day in the gym, and just hope that they hit home. You know, not tell him anything. Don't try and teach him anything in the corner.
It's too late at that point. But
yeah, I know. But like,
here, what about we rip it up and do something different?
Turn southpaw. No. But no, it's early doors, but we'll see.
Dennis Hogan, I didn't see the fight. It was a big step up for him. He fought well for 5 or 6 rounds, I think.
He did well to hang in there with like a really, really elite fighter in Jamal Charlo, and like a world-class athlete. You know, I don't think you'd say that about Dennis, but Dennis is very clever, very crafty boxer, and posed problems, but was a bit of a puzzle for Charlo to work out, and did well in spots, but just came up short really against a much better fighter.
Okay. Was there anything else over the weekend that we needed to?
Not really. Aaron McKenna fought, young Monaghan boxer fought as well, and I think he had a 2nd or 3rd round knockout with a body shot. I was in the dressing room, so I didn't get to see it, but the reports were good, and those 2 brothers are really making waves over there, you know. So
they're also top rank as well.
They were Golden Boys.
They're Golden Boys.
Jason,
sorry.
So
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, and that's obviously probably their second full calendar year living in California over there.
Big mates with your buddy. The big mates with your buddy.
Exactly. So that's the kind of the one mutual friend we do have. It's been like I can remember 2018 was just this unbelievable year for them where their star had clearly risen, and like obviously pictures with Kendrick and the likes. Like 2019,
Ken, as you call him.
Exactly, Ken or K. As, he's kind of he's similarly short as my name. Like when you look back on
What's
their,
he call you? O?
Just O, yeah, basically. I'm like, it actually starts with E. It's like, what are you doing, Kendrick? But how's their 2019 been? Because obviously it was always going to be tough to follow up.
Yeah, I think it's just now for the next year or two, they're being so young. It's about progression, you know. But one thing that strikes you about them, like they're the same height as me. They're 6'1", and one fights at 140 pounds. The other one fights at light middle. They're huge for their weights, you know, and they're really nice young lads. And they seem to be taking it all in their stride. So, like, I think it's next couple of years just progress as the way they do and pick up experience, learn in the gyms over there, and just build up a record now and pick up experience.
Good stuff. Andy, thanks a million for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you enjoy the Joshua fight? That was the other thing. There's a lot of people complaining
Not really.
about it.
I don't think so. But from the first bell, I just knew that's the way. I could see that. Like, why didn't I? And you know, when you always should trust your first fight, and the fact that he was losing weight, the fact that he was having it in Saudi Arabia meant he could fight that type of fight. There wouldn't be an expectation for him to entertain. Yeah, you know, there wouldn't be booing because they were just happy to have it there.
If you did that in America, there would have been like,
they
would
have been booing
in a fight.
Booing,
Yeah.
That's. But I think there's this real split between casual fans and actual boxing people who think. Boxing people will say it was a great performance, and they know what it took to overcome that first loss, where the casual fan just wants to see blood.
Yeah, of course.
I want to see it too sometimes.
Nice tension.
Yeah.